Um, this was a really good win for us. We knew coming in they were playing a lot better than they were a month ago, and I thought this was just a really good team effort. After not playing, like, got kind of some rest this week, and then came back. I thought really good focus from the start. We don't have to talk about third quarter, but besides that, it's pretty good. So, yeah, just good team win.
Questions?
What do you think was the biggest difference in the fourth quarter?
I think just made some adjustments. And I talked about this after the game. We can't come out of halftime and just make like a foul right away and put them on the line so much. So I think just understanding you have to have the same intensity third quarter as you do at the start of the game. And in starting three freshmen, sometimes that's hard. I think people just relax. And then fourth quarter made some on-ball adjustments because in the third quarter, we're trapping, but it was kind of soft. So when you have two people on the ball, obviously two passes out is going to be a wide open shot. But if they can skip it from like a wing where you're trapping to the corner, you're going to get open three. So just understanding that and just being just more on the same page. So we took it off and went back to it, and I thought did a better job of like sticking to the game plan the correct way in the fourth quarter.
38 made layups in the wins over Cal and today.
I didn't know that.
And only taken 11 threes throughout those games.
I like that.
Is there just an effectiveness on taking it to the basket and just what
Absolutely. Like if we can take 11 threes, unless we're going to shoot like 80% like we did before, yeah, that's not our personnel to sit there and just take a ton of threes. So I prefer that. Look at our personnel. Like Courtney does a great job getting to the rim. So I think once you do that and you get confidence, then you can step back and shoot threes. I thought, Jada didn't force shots. I like that better. Now, do I want Helena? Would I mind if Helena took 6 a game? Absolutely not, because that's what she's really good at. But I think as far as our strength and weaknesses as a team, that's not our personnel. So I prefer us going downhill.
with Helena just playing so many minutes and being anchored on that 13-0 run, just how would you say like that she's able to contribute in such a dynamic way?
Yeah, so Helena, she was really passive in the first half. I thought there was opportunities when she was driving, and she just kind of passed up. She had some layups. She kind of skips it out because she's so unselfish. So talk to her a lot about just being more aggressive. And you saw when she's aggressive, she makes great things happen. But aggressive in the sense that when you're coming off action, look to score. Because her looking to score, she's going to make the right move. But just being on attack mode, everything flows faster because she's going to make the right pass. She's going to shoot when she needs to. And she did that. She did a great job of that. So we kept them running plays for her. But I want her to be that aggressive from the jump. So I'm probably going to have to dictate a little bit more because knowing that sometimes she looks to pass so much. And I want her to play like she did in that attack mode. I think that was the third quarter.
Can you talk about her defensive mentality against Ice Brown? She was able to stop her from scoring.
Yeah, so Jaylen Brown's a really good player. Came into the game averaging 18 and had 19 against us last time. He's a really good athlete, and Helena's a good defender. Helena's game, she's grown so much. She plays on both ends of the floor, and she's really sneaky. She's not the fastest. She's not the most athletic, but she anticipates extremely well. I'd say one of the best in the country at that, reading and just a super high basketball IQ. And she did a good job keeping her in front of her, just like giving her enough space so she's not just getting blow-bys. I thought just a really solid performance, and she is playing a lot of minutes. And I had tried to find it. It's funny because today I felt like she didn't play as many, but she still played 37. So having her off the floor for like 2.5 is a long time. She's just such a good player, so it's hard to keep her off the floor, a lot like Sam Thomas used to be.
What are you looking for on Tuesday in tryouts from players who try out?
So hopefully a good player. It's funny because Lauren's, how many emails she's received? Like 180, and that was yesterday, so probably 200. I just don't want to be in a situation, so right now we have 7. I don't want to be in a situation where someone like sprains an ankle at a shoot-around and we have to forfeit a game. So my intentions are to maybe like find 1 or 2 players. Will they play a lot? I'm probably not. But maybe to come in, bring some energy, help us in practice where they're decent enough to do scout team and stuff like that, help us on the road, because it's just hard to function with 7 bodies. Even in practice, on the road, like we're walking through stuff, like me walking in offense does not help us, or Salva or Anthony, and like we might hurt something, we can't, our trainer is very busy right now. So just can help with that stuff. And do I think I'm going to find 5 great players? No, but if I find 2 that are pretty good, just decent, they can help us. Like Aaron would have helped us. Aaron, was in athletics, which helped. So if I could find that, even better. I'm trying to recruit. But I want to find like 2 or 3 players if I can. If I can't, we can't. We're not just going to add somebody. I mean, Lauren's getting 33-year-old women that played 10 years ago asking about eligibility. So it's like a wide variety. But the great thing is there's a lot of people interested. So I'm hoping that we can get like 2 more bodies because we need it. And I don't know how long Kaylin will be out.
Say about Esmeri Martinez's toughness playing through the migraine.
Yes, Mary's a beast, and it's funny. I mentioned it after the game. So before the game, she's like throwing up, and very sick. She gets really bad migraines, so she's on a prophylactic to not get them. So usually she doesn't get them a lot, but when she gets them, she gets like sick and vomits and stuff. So sorry, that's probably TMI. But I thought I'd really have to play her a couple minutes, take her out. I didn't think she'd ready to go because her head was hurting at the beginning of the game. And then she came out in fuego, so I was like, hey, she's okay, that migraine's okay. And she was okay, and I kept on asking her, and she was fine. But yeah, it was scary. I mean, she played. I mean, if I could get 18 and 15 with a migraine, that's pretty good, right?
On Thursday, you said Kaylin was in protocol. Is that
Yeah.
concussion protocol?
No, she's just not available. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know when she'll be available. So, but she's not medically out. She's just not available. Yeah, so not because concussions we can never say. So usually, if I ever say she's out for medical reasons, a lot of times it's concussions. Because usually I'm pretty transparent about the injury. But yeah, so so many HIPAA rules and FRIPA and RIPA and LIPA, a lot of IPAs.
Fouls.
Yeah.
Much better this game.
Much better, but still a thing.
Yeah, still a thing, but I remember after Cal, you were talking about all those little fouls, and that's when the foul trouble started happening. Better this time?
Yeah, way better. So as Mary not only played like her 30 minutes with a migraine, but didn't foul. And I think just learning when to be aggressive, when not. Like I told Jada, so she gets the offensive foul, you can live with it. But then that next one where she reaches in, that forces you to sit. So I think just as a freshman learning, maybe just put your hand there and because a slap down, 90% of the time it's going to be a foul, even if it's all ball. So just understanding that. I think Brea's done a better job. But a lot of times it's the guards being out of position. It leads to a drive, and then it's a foul at the rim. So I thought as Mary's done a better job, Brea's done a better job, and Isis. So much better job of just not getting them in bunches, which forces them out of the game, because we're not good if Brea plays 12 minutes. And if Isis plays 10, because of foul trouble, as Mary plays 15, we're not going to win those games because we'll get killed on the boards. So third quarter, we were not disciplined to start the half, which is not good. And I think those are teaching moments to watch on film. Okay, this is where we can't lose intensity, because in other games, then you're down 20. So I think just understanding that and learning that and showing them film, which I think has helped, because we're better at those things.
I'm kind of reflecting back to the Cal and Stanford game. The third quarter has been a problem, right?
Yeah.
But it seemed to not be as big a problem in a couple of those
It's better.
games. But this game, it kind of that old beast came back.
Yeah, well, I felt before the third quarter lulls were because of foul trouble. So then if you have 3, you're less aggressive because then you don't want to get the 4th one. I thought today was just lack of discipline, just looking to out of position and doing things that we shouldn't do, or bad closeout when you should know personnel. I thought those rookie things, or end a shot clock, slapping down when someone goes to get a layup. Those are the fouls you don't want, or fouling on a 3-point shot. Those are freshman things. So you saw the freshman mistakes with Skylar and Brea, but then their teaching moments could go close out, but don't ever foul a jump shooter. And Sky, don't be so aggressive and so tight at 4 seconds when you know they're going to drive it. Teaching moments like that, which will really help them. So, and I thought Sky, the area where she has grown a lot is, you saw a month ago, she'd make a mistake and she'd be like, oh, everybody in the gym knew she was pissed, right? But then now you see that for a couple moments, but then she shakes out of it faster. So it's a growth thing, but we're working on that every day, just not being so hard on herself, because she does good things. Then she just gets so down on herself. So learning how to face that adversity in the games, and just great players have amnesia. You forget about it. You don't care if you miss 5. You feel like your next 5 are in. I think that mentality, which most freshmen don't have, and it's a process.
With Brea, can you cite the 4th quarter with her and just be like, hey, if you're available, this is the type of thing you can do, and if you're on the bench, you can't?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with her, it's a lot of one-on-one film, team film, showing these are the reasons why you're getting those fouls and that make you sit. And these are the things we have to eliminate. And just the discipline and those things. But a lot of her fouls come from the bad positioning. So a lot of it comes from she doesn't do what she's supposed to do proactively, and then she's late. So whether it's on like an on-ball situation, like a pick and roll situation, she maybe rotates later, and then she's out of position. Or post defense, she gets face cut, and then she's in bad position, so then she reaches or gets attacked, like those kind of things. So she's just learning it, and film really helps. I'd say it really, really helps Brea, and it helps Skylar a lot, because they're like, oh man, like they just don't know, and so they're learning.
Aside from getting to play on national TV a week from Monday, the extra
Against
day.
Juju, who just said 51, that could be a great TV game. She'll be really motivated to have 61. I'm excited.
The extra day in between, is that helpful?
Yeah, this week has been really helpful. This week, just having the bye, huge for us and just our situation. And it's just a long time on the road. But we are in LA, so that's not that bad. But the day longer helps us, because we can't really, just think about it, we're not practicing a couple days before games. And because of just our lack of personnel, we're not doing anything except for a walkthrough on Saturdays. So the day off will give us a practice and a walkthrough, because there's a lot we have to still work on.
Watch the USC
I watched
Stanford
some of
game.
it. I didn't finish it. But yeah, I was surprised, because if you think about Stanford, they're a really good, one of the best in the country defensively. So to hear that Juju, have 51 points, and I was actually recruiting, so I wasn't here, but yeah, she's just so good. That's why I recruited her.
I mean, you talked about not being able to talk about Kaylin. And how are your players, like when things crop up again about Maya or whatever online, how are your players dealing with it? And how do you want to deal with it? Is it just something that you don't discuss with them? Is it something that you just are trying to ignore? What?
I think you just can't. I think you have to realize, I'm an adult. I'm 47 years old. And I'm just more mature, and I think that players are young and emotional. So after some certain situations, you get really emotional, and then you say things. I think sometimes you'll regret them, but that's just kind of how it is. So our players a lot of times don't see it, don't realize it. My son. But you just can't. It's hard to get on Twitter and just talk about things, because everything's so public, and everybody has an opinion about everything. So they just don't really pay a lot of attention. But then usually I find out from the players, though, because I won't follow certain people, and I'll be getting someone will text them. I'll get 50 texts from people all around the country. The players, did you see this? I'm like, no. So it ticks you off when you see it. But it's social media. There's so many people that have 2 followers. It's easy to hide behind Twitter and say stuff, because the best coaches are on Twitter, right? Or watching TV with the remote control. Those are great coaches. But when you're in the situation, it's harder. So I just think you can't get caught up into that. And just people are emotional. And I think as a coach, one of the hardest things I can tell you as a coach, so there's stuff that goes on, right? You guys are lucky I can't say the truth about everything, because people would I could change everybody's opinion about so many things. If people knew the truth, and as a coaches, and every coach in the country goes through this, there's so many things you can't say, or decisions you make that leads to, say, someone leaving or something, or there's a reason, but you can never say it. So the coaches always have to sit there and smile, and we just take punches. And that's hard. I mean, that's hard sometimes, but it comes with the territory, and you just have to smile. And what do they say, Michelle Obama? When they go low, we go high. Sometimes you're like, I want to go low too, but you can't. And it's I'm the adult, and so you have to be above stuff, and you have to be a role model for your players, because then it's contagious, and they start doing it, and it's stuff that is just a distraction. And what I want to worry about is the 7 I have, or the 8, when we have 8, and then I want us to be our best, and I want us to be professional. And the reality is the 7 know the reality and the truth. And you can see it on the floor, because if we weren't cohesive and we weren't didn't have great culture, they wouldn't fight like they do. And that's very obvious. And then I think as spectators, you see when we started to excel and when we play our best, and we're playing good basketball with 7 players and not as much talent as most other teams. So if you don't have a good cohesive culture, and you don't have that, you're not going to see that on the court. And that's the reality. And I think that's pretty obvious for people that know basketball. So those girls, and they all say 10 toes down, they all fight, and they have my back, we have each other's back, and that's the reality. And I mean, I think that really shows, and that's the most important thing for me. So you gotta forget about all the noise.
With Courtney and Jaden getting into it a little bit with the double technical, was that a rivalry thing, you think? Or
No, I think just a lot of players talk like I used to talk when I was a player. And so Courtney kind of gave the hand, because there was just a lot of chirping before. So I just had to remind them, if basketball is emotional, they're young, and like don't get into that. You let your game speak for you, and just not. But it's a rival. I think they're emotional just like we are, and it's just one of those things.
Things get chippy. Do you worry about, I've got 7 players, I don't want someone hurt?
I worry every day. I worry in practice. I worry in shoot around. So I had 2 freshmen that weren't taped today, and that was a discussion because so we're supposed to be taped just because with 7 players you can't afford an injury. So I reminded them, well, if you sprained your ankle in shoot around, we forfeit the game. But that's not something a freshman thinks about. So those little things are important, like getting thrown out of a game or suspended for the next game. Those are things we can't do. And so you have to that's where me as a coach, I don't get crazy on the side. Like, it's not my personality, but I'm not yelling, screaming, cussing, because then what happens to your team? Your team's a reflection of you. Then they're yelling, screaming, cussing, complaining. So I don't make it a habit to complain at the refs. Do something about it. Make the adjustment. That's what good players do. So I don't get super emotional because then they do what you do, and they're a reflection of you. So I don't talk as much crap like that, but the players like to talk.
Skylar and Brea, they combined for 2 of 8 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
So do you think there was more of a jittery thing, just being freshmen, or there was anything more to it?
I just think lack of focus, and I can tell you the 2 of them that Skylar missed at one point. She was, if you guys saw, she was really hanging her head. She was mad about a play, and she was super emotional. And then you saw her miss those things. So when I pulled her out of the game after, I told her, you just did something good. We ran a play, she got to the basket, and you drew the foul. So that's a positive thing. You're not sitting there thinking about a turnover 4 plays ago. So just learning that next play mentality is teaching. And I'm telling you, she's 75% better just throughout this year. And you guys could probably see that. So don't focus on the negative things. Focus on the positive, because if you don't love on yourself and you're not confident in yourself, who is going to be? So I think just learning that, and she's learning, and it's a daily thing. It's daily talks we have, trust me.
Time for 1 or 2 more. If you'll have Mateo. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your question?
Did you at least just have fun winning?
Yes, winning's always fun, Mateo. Losing is, and you know what they say, I'll teach you something. Winning cures all, right? So when you're a coach, you win, there's so many things that aren't talked about. Twitter wouldn't even be a thing if you're winning. It's when you're not winning or stuff like that. People always want to find a story. They like stories, Mateo, right? So, yeah, winning's fun.
We'll wrap
Okay,
up there.
thank you guys.